I think there's one thing that people often seem to forget when it comes to Greek/Roman mythology, and that is how every mythology is the funniest one when you think about it. Let's begin off with Greek/Roman. Why did I say that? Because a lot of Greek is just Roman, and a lot of Roman is just Greek. There's just really a combination of two. And it's not in the same sense of like how, not originally, but how our view of Northern mythology is kind of combined with Christianity. I mean, in the sense of just like, no, they're pretty much one and the same with some differences, mainly in their names. And that's just funny. But then it gets funnier because like most of like we get to the point of view that most Greek gods suck. And that's not necessarily wrong, but also most of the worst ones are one very high up in the echelon. Like you're talking about your Zeus's, your Poseidon's, your Hera's, right? But also most of them are just more primal representation of something. Like the reason why they are so bad is because of how they represent nature most of the time, and nature doesn't seem to be nice. So when you have a god of war, both of them are not necessarily like neither one of them are really that bad in their mythology. Although I do hate Ares. I just hate him, man. No reason. I just like Athena more. But like most of the gods that represent stuff that like more like war, the king of the underworld, they typically are more calm and whatnot. Versus like the god of seasons or the god of lightning, where they just suck. And the last reason why I think it's so funny to consider is that, like I mentioned before, our understanding of Norse mythology is kind of impacted because of the fact that Christianity took over and changed some aspect of it, right? This is kind of why Loki is kind of have a devilish thing when we actually think about it based on the story. He's more like Jesus, right? Um, and why those gods aren't called gods in the mythology. But Greek gods are hilarious because you would think the same thing would apply to them. And I would say that it applies even better. Like if you want to point to like the seven deadly sins, right? You have the envy or greed with like, you know, Thor, or greed or envy with like Odin. That was the first time I tried to name at first. But like you want to talk about the seven deadly sins within, and you can probably point to more. But you want to talk about the seven deadly sins. What better gods are there to represent them than Greek gods? Lust, the main guy himself, Zeus. Wrath, he's not really an angry person, but let's go with stereotyping here. Aries. You could also just go with Zeus for that one. Or my pick, Poseidon. You want to go with envy? Hera. Or pretty much any god of beauty that isn't Hephaestus. That's the wrong god, but